So at least that's kind of that was his thinking, you know. So I'm a little extravagant about that, but it was always trying to, you know, what can we have for somebody else.
Can you talk about Master Mission?
Yeah.
I know that. Was that mainly your father's thing?
Mainly my father coined that, and he I don't know if you read it somewhere, picked it up from something. He used it a lot when he taught, but Mother echoed it as well. I don't know when I first heard Dad start talking about your master, your mate, your mission. That's what those three were. But I know that Mother was heard talking about it as well. I think, you know, the biggest thing is that with Mom and Dad working with teenagers and teaching them in Sunday school, they realized that teenagers are always thinking, you know, Mom and Dad make all the decisions. I never get to make any decisions. You know, they always tell me when I can go, when I have to come back, and who I can be with. And, you know, they'd hear all these complaints from teenagers and stuff, you know. And so my dad got on this, and Mom as well, kind of the soapbox saying, you know, well, if you wait when you get a little older, the most important decisions that have to be made, you actually are going to get to make them. Nobody else will make them for you. And if you'll work really hard and try to learn about how to make good decisions, you know, when it comes time to make these decisions, you'll make the right ones. Because my dad always said a good decision brings good results, bad decision brings bad results. And so Mom and Dad would teach teenagers that, you know, the one thing you're going to get to decide is who's going to be your master of your life. You know, you get to make that choice. Nobody else can make that choice for you. And you're either going to let your life be driven by things of this world or influences of other people, or you're going to let the Lord be your master of your life and let Him lead and guide you, and that'll be your filter for your decision making. And the second was that you get to decide who your mate's going to be in life. We live in a culture where you get to decide that. Not all cultures are that way, but you get to decide who you're going to marry, and that's one of the most important decisions that you make. It is a lifetime commitment, you know, that you're making, and so to make the right choice, you know, is important. And even in that time, and Mom and Dad, you know, had young people in their classes that were, you know, were struggling, their parents were struggling, or they'd gone through divorce, and they saw the result of what that looked like, you know, in the lives of these children when parents would separate or whatever. So they tried to impress upon them the importance of knowing how to make a good decision about who you want to spend the rest of your life with. My parents were adamant about talking about, Mother especially talked about, you know, you're just not marrying a person, you're marrying a family. So you want to make sure you know the family really well, and you feel like, you know, that's a family you can be a part of and get along with throughout the years. And then the third M was, of course, your mission. What do you want to do in life? And so Dad and Mom love to share that with young people, and particularly when they would complain about their relationship with their parents wouldn't be very good. And they said, but, you know, these are the important things. So this is what you need to be working on and focusing on. Who's going to be your master, and who's going to be your mate, and what will your mission be in life in terms of what you want to do and accomplish, you know, in life. Okay. So it's a big part of their conversations with young people. When we'd have a lot of young people in our home, and we'd sit around the table, and that was kind of always where the conversation would go, with Mom and Dad talking, you know, to them. And in the evenings when we were sitting around together, those were the conversations that they would have, even with us as well.
And that came up with a couple of people. I know Julie.
3 M's.
Yeah, Julie brought that up a lot. So even she learned it from your mother, and she's taught it to all of her children and everything she's done. So I think that could be, I mean, that's such a good, succinct little teaching. I think that could itself be something.
That's awesome.
Okay, and that's the kind of thing that's easy to flesh out.
Another thing about Mom, I don't know that we've ever mentioned. I don't have a good story about it necessarily, but she would when she would buy things, she would shop at Walmart, Target. I mean, that, you know, but she also shopped downtown. She'd go to nice stores, and she would. But if she bought something that was really nice, she would remember how much she paid for it, and it stayed in her closet forever. And she wore it as many times as she could, and when it came time to where she couldn't wear it anymore for whatever reason, you know, I would say, Mom says, we probably need to let this go. And I try to help her clean up her closet. And I said, oh, but this is such a nice dress, I said, yeah, I know it's a nice dress, but Mom, maybe somebody else could. Oh no, well, not just anybody could use this dress, I said, if I give it away, I need to give it away to somebody that can use it. So she would hold on to things, mainly because she wanted to try to find somebody that could actually wear it. She didn't want to know what size they were, and and that sort of thing. But her nice things, she said, this is a nice dress, kind of hold on to this and stuff. So it was really interesting, because if she spent money, so to speak, more than she typically would spend, then she felt really responsible to use it and wear it well. Whereas I think sometimes we'll buy things and we'll think, I don't think they're very comfortable. I don't think I need these shoes anymore. And maybe not think twice of passing it on or taking it to Goodwill. But she was much more frugal about that, almost than Dad was, about things like that. She felt almost guilty if she spent more money than she typically should have for something. But she would do it knowing that possibly she could use it really well. But things used to be real formal. They used to go to these really, really nice events and stuff, formal type events. They would have to have really nice clothes for. And then over time things got a little bit more casual. And of course, as they got older, they didn't have as many of those kind of events to go to. And I was like pulling teeth to try to get her to let some of that, that go and stuff. But it was just ingrained in her.
Life on the farm. You gave me, when we did the house tour, you gave me some little stories, like you and your brothers trying to cut the heart out of a horse.
Yeah, it was actually out of a cow.
Out of a cow.
It's on a horse, and it's actually a cow.
I'd like to build something up around, because I've got your mother herself telling the bee story.
Okay, yeah.
And standing on a fence post crying for help, and that's when she knew, okay, God, it's you and me. So any stories around that you would like to throw on the pile? Like specific times about life on the farm.
Yeah, I wonder if we told the story that property there, for a long time people came onto the property to head down to fish and to hunt. And because it was the little house was there, but it was abandoned for a long time. So when Mom and Dad purchased it and bought it, then people were sort of still in the habit of coming onto the property a lot. So finally, Mom had Dad put a sign down at the end of the driveway that said, "No fishing, no hunting, no trespassing. Do not even ask." I think was actually the wording on the sign. But one day, Mom tells the story that she was back on the room changing one of our diapers. She had all three of us. We were all three in the same room. That's the original part of the house. And she came around the corner into the kitchen. There was a man standing in the kitchen. Did we tell you the story? And he was in his overalls and scared her to death. Here out in the middle of nowhere, basically, and all of a sudden there's this man in her house. She screamed. He turned around. He came in because he said he heard her water running. He was cutting through the property, and he thought he heard her running. Sure enough, she had left the faucet on in the kitchen sink, and so he just walked in to turn it off for her. Straight up. Well, they ended up becoming one of our best family friends, Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Zach Mitchell was his name. He wore overalls all the time. They were the only house that was on that main road, McDonough Road. That's where he lived. So he was in walking distance, basically, from our house. And that was her first introduction to Mr. Zach. And he became actually a handyman. He would come around from time to time. And Dad ended up using Mr. Zach to help feed the cows, come over and feed the cows. And he would just walk over. And Mr. Zach and Miss Annie were sweet elderly couple. If you wanted to compare them to anybody, it'd be like from what's the show, Beverly Hillbillies. So she was like Granny. I mean, just fitting in, and she always wore that little apron. She's kind of humped over, gray hair. It's the cutest little couple. And Mr. Zach always in his overalls. That's all he ever wore. He slept on the floor. They had a bed, but he thought the hard floor was better for his back and sleep on. And so we would, on our way in, lots of times from the house, we'd stop over at Mr. Zach and Miss Annie's to check on them and see how they were doing. And Mom and Dad just kind of took them under their wings. And Mother especially thought that she needed a telephone. They didn't have running water. They drew their water from outside a well. They had an outhouse. It was just the neatest little house where they live, and but Mother thought they needed electricity and they needed a phone line, and so she had that put in for them, and because she wanted to be able to call Miss Annie and check on her and see how she was doing and stuff, you know. So life on the farm, that was kind of interesting, how we begin to get to know neighbors. That's kind of how community was formed.
They just wander into your house.
And he just wandered into the house. We talked about trying to bring the animals into the house. Saturdays, typically